Hello, this is Gray Hughes. Today's video is regarding Jonathan Allen and Ina Rogers, the two new Barbarian parents living in Fairfield, California, the parents of 10. Now, if you haven't seen any of my live videos or don't seem to be getting notifications for my regular videos, make sure that you hit the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. I believe that YouTube has recently changed something that actually reset a lot of the YouTube community's notification settings, and there's even been videos made by other YouTubers suggesting the same thing. Okay, so make sure you have that set. Now let's get started on this case, which is very similar to the Hart case and the Turpin family case. Very disturbing stuff. Let's start by taking a look at sfgate.com. You can see right here you have Jonathan Allen and Ina Rogers. On the outside it looked like a normal home, nested on a tree-lined cul-de-sac in North Bay city of Fairfield. But when investigators opened the screen door of the house on Fieldstone Court, they were horrified. 10 children had lived for years amid piles of spoiled food and feces, allegedly burned and shot with BB guns, officials said. The case rattled a normally quiet suburb of Solano County and prompted a fierce defense from the children's mother, who insisted Monday that she and her husband had done nothing wrong. Authorities first encountered the family March 31st, so literally about 6 weeks ago, when Ina Rogers, 30, reported her 12-year-old son missing, according to the Fairfield Police Department. The boy was found asleep under a bush in a nearby yard. And you know that the kid probably told the police when he was found something. The responding officers searched the home because of concerns for child's welfare and found 9 more children between 4 months and 11 years old living in conditions police describe as squalid and unsafe. Behind the cream siding and the mulch garden dotted with Buddha statues, authorities say they found urine-stained floors, human and animal feces, and debris stacked so high it made areas of the house impassable. Rogers was subsequently arrested and booked into Solano County Jail on suspicion of child neglect, and all 10 children were taken to live with extended family members by Solano County Child Welfare Services. Rogers was released after posting $10,000 bail, according to county court records. And when the parents deny all this, keep in mind it's the children that are telling the police this when questioned. Listen to this. Chief Deputy District Attorney Sharon Henry said she was horrified by the children's statements, which detailed sadistic abuse and torture dating back to 2014. Earlier on Monday, Rogers defended herself in front of news cameras. She said her 12-year-old son had ran away as an act of rebellion and that police had found her home in disarray because she had been frantically searching for him. Really? That's insane. The boy was gone for a few hours, Hurlbut said. The conditions they saw in my house was tearing up my house because my son was missing, Rogers said. I was afraid that I could not find him. You know, once that fear sets in, you don't know what to do. Okay, but later on, they blamed the police for doing that. So, at least now she's admitting that they're responsible for the mess, not the police. Okay, so when everybody hears out there, oh, did you hear that the police ransacked it? It's just all a setup. Well, just realize she admitted that she did it while searching. You know, that's the excuse to explain why it looks the way it does. But why would you look under a small pile of clothes on the ground for a 12-year-old child? That doesn't make any sense. All right, now let's take a look at one of the videos higher up on the page. And you can see down here, even the media's has links to the Turpin family, and you can tell that they're already associating this case with that.
But babies, if you see this, your mommy loves you.
Ina Rogers sending a message to her 10 children. The 31-year-old telling us they range in age from 4 months to 12 years old, removed from her Fairfield home over allegations of torture, child abuse, and neglect.
And I know this time is scary, and I know you don't know what's going on, but you will understand that everyone will know that you guys were loved.
The father, 29-year-old Jonathan Allen, behind bars on more than $5 million bail.
Sense of intentional abuse resulting in puncture wounds, burns, bruising, and injuries consistent with being shot with a pellet gun or a BB gun.
As for Rogers, she tells us she was arrested 6 weeks ago, but released on bail, showing us the inside of her home. Conditions admittedly in disarray, but she argues a mess created by law enforcement during a search warrant. However, investigators...
Did you hear that? See, she says that the police did that when they investigated with the search warrant. But then in the article, she said that she made the mess when she was looking for the 12-year-old kid that was missing.
Investigators describe horrible living conditions with human and animal feces.
As a career prosecutor, based upon the information that I know, I'm horrified by the statements that were given by these children.
Rogers telling a completely different story, describing a healthy living environment, choosing to homeschool her 10 children.
Just take my kids to the doctor alone, and all of these torture allegations will fall away because there's no...
Did you hear that part right there about homeschooling? You notice how the Hart case, the Turpin case, and this case all have issues with homeschooling, and that is to hide the abuse that's being done. For example, if any one of these kids had gone to school with the marks on their bodies, they would have been reported and looked into. So that's a technique that they use to hide the fact of abuse at home. And I'm not against homeschooling. I think some people are fed up with the public schooling system and its poor quality and think that they can do a better job at home. But what I am more for is more oversight, that regular checkups by officials to make sure that everything is okay. All right, now in this case, these parents said that they were homeschooling and planned to do so, I guess, but they never registered at all with the state to do so, and there's no record of their kids ever being in public school. And I read this in another article. So how did these kids get educated? I mean, to me, this whole situation is absolutely horrible, and it's just like the Turpin and just like the Hart case. More barbarian parents. All right, let's continue on with the video.
No broken bones, there is no major scars, nothing. My kids get bumped and
no major scars. Yeah, there's scars, they're just not major.
Bruised and scratched because they're kids, but that's it.
However, neighbors who live across the street from the couple are surprised to learn they're even parents.
We didn't know.
We didn't know. I just found out they had 10 kids right now.
Yeah.
Because we just got the text. Yeah. You didn't even know. No.
We didn't.
See, doesn't that sound familiar too? The neighbors didn't even know they had kids because they're all hidden inside. The Turpin family, people would see one or two outside and sometimes at night marching around upstairs. In the Hart case, remember the neighbors? They didn't even know they had any kids at all until they showed up at their door one night looking for refuge. All right, so this is all this huge pattern. It almost seems like there's like a network of barbarian parents who communicate, or some kind of handbook, because they all do exactly the same damn thing.
Didn't even know that there's that one kid.
To me, this is all a surprise, and it's kind of like she said, it's kind of disturbing.
In Fairfield, Vicki Gonzalez, KCRA 3 News.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's exactly the same as the Turpin and Hart case. All right, now I did actually find the street on Google Earth, And you can tell it's right here. See, this is the neighbor's house. It has a little angled roof with the vent right there, and this is their house. Now this image is from 2011. So I mean, it's just a really nice little cul-de-sac neighborhood. And apparently they kept their yard up really well. So that's a ruse as well to keep people from questioning them. Their house fits right in. It's not in disrepair. There's no garbage outside or anything. It looks just like all the rest of the house. Now this is 2011, but if you could see in that last video I played, it does look like it's well kept, and that's to keep people from noticing their home. And it's amazing that the neighbors across the street didn't even know they had children. All right, now let's take a look at this NBC News website. Let's see what the house might have looked like in there. Now apparently some of the areas were so blocked by garbage and debris that you weren't able to access them.
Tonight, video from inside a Fairfield, California home where 10 children were removed after an investigation into abuse and neglect.
The children describe incidents of intentional abuse resulting in puncture wounds, burns, bruising, and injuries consistent with being shot with a pellet gun or a BB gun.
The mother, 30-year-old Ina Rogers, arrested and charged with child neglect. Her husband, 29-year-old Jonathan Allen, charged with 9 counts of torture and 6 counts of child abuse. Today, Rogers, who has since been released, says there was never any abuse, showing pictures of her.
And see right here, you can see the yard is well kept up. It has the bark dust, rocks, you know, it's not trashy outside.
Children with this message for them.
Mommy loves you so much, and Daddy loves you so much.
She says it was a misunderstanding stemming from a call in March when her 12-year-old developmentally delayed son ran away and she and her kids turned their house upside down trying to find him. The police searched as well.
They never showed me a warrant, and when I went in...
Oh, so now they're claiming, oh, developmentally delayed. Sounds similar to the Hart family, blaming the kids. It's, you know, something to do with them, not me. Well, how does anybody know they're developmentally delayed? They don't go to public schools, and they are, quote, homeschooled without being registered.
In there, they completely tore my house apart.
Oh, yeah.
When her son was found, police arrested her.
Yeah, they completely tore your house apart, even though you're the one that said you did it earlier. But now you realize it's not going to work. You need to blame the disarray of your house on somebody else. So it's got to be the police who did it.
Her and took her children. Her husband's bail has been set at $5 million. The case following another child abuse investigation in Southern California that began when a teenage girl escaped and told police her 12 siblings were being held captive. Online, the family appeared happy, but inside this home, police finding several children chained to their beds. While in Fairfield, friends coming to Rogers' defense saying she would never hurt her children. But tonight...
Doesn't that sound familiar? Boy, what did the Hart friends say? The Hart family friends all said such glowing things. She's such wonderful parents. She's so great. Jennifer, they're so wonderful. You remember that, right? Well, they were wrong. And so are they in this case.
Police tell a different story. Gotti Schwartz, NBC News.
So basically right now we're just looking at 2 barbarian parents. And they're trying to make excuses and trying to worm their way out of it. But it's not going to work. And hopefully both of them get put in jail at some point, or prison. Especially the guy on the left there. Jonathan Allen. You know, you don't put a $5.2 million bond on somebody unless they've been doing something horrific. Now the kids must have said what he had been doing to them. Now you sort of wonder in this case, is it possible that Ina is similar to Sarah Hart and was controlled by Jonathan? All right, now let's take a listen to an interview with Jonathan Allen while he waits in jail. Let's listen to the full interview here, or a lot of it.
Ordinarily hard. You know, at first they took my kids and they took my wife, and now they took me. So it's extraordinarily hard. You know, never even to be asked once, do you love your kids, or is this true? But just asked to explain things that
What do you want to say to your children who are probably wondering where Daddy is right now?
Look at that acting right there. Oh, Jesus. Really?
That I love them, and that this will pass, whether their minds understand now.
What he's really saying is, oh, God, I can't believe I got caught.
Or later, they'll understand, and they know, like, they know Daddy, and it's like, they know, like, there's babies, like, I don't even know what to even tell them.
What do you want to say to authorities who are saying that your children were tortured and abused?
I'm saying it's so messed up. Like, number one, when our kids first got took, CPS took them. They had no marks on them whatsoever. That was one of the first things that CPS looked at when they took our kids. After they had took our kids, they had placed them in homes. They were further inspected there. Then after that, they were given to grandma, but they were further inspected there. It wasn't until family issues, like personal family issues, personal family vendettas come up, that accusations like this and on other family members take place. And I want the police to know that I'm not an animal. I'm not an animal. You didn't even ask me. They didn't even tell me what I supposedly done. They didn't even tell me. They just told me child endangerment and torture. 6 counts, 10 counts, there's numbers and counts, and they did nothing else.
So you're saying you're not a cruel dad?
No, I'm not a cruel dad whatsoever. I may look like X, Y, and Z, but I am not a cruel dad whatsoever. I am the most loving parent that I could possibly be. You know, I'm not sure you're going to ask about the religious aspect of it too, but, you know, like, I'm like Indiana Jones when it comes to spirituality. I dig deep. I realize that God has millions of different names, and just because he was called one name by one people doesn't mean that the other names aren't correct. And so they just tried to tie this in. They came into the house, and the officer was already just extremely angry at me for having my spiritual temple clean. And the first thing he said to me was a derogatory statement about my temple, and then just walked off, and I see nothing else of him.
What would you say to the authorities who are saying your children were burned? They were hit with pellet guns? Why would they say this?
They would say this because they are brainwashed, because they are still children. The same reasoning that they use that a child won't say this, they haven't seen a child say that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really? So the kids are brainwashed. They're all brainwashed. Who brainwashed them? Like, right away they were brainwashed? See, this is what these people do. They make excuses of why they're saying it. Okay? They know they did this. And now they're blaming the kids yet again.
They have to realize, look at the other cases where people have been proven to brainwash children, where people have been proven to implant thoughts and implant items into children's brains. And even then, it's like, look at them, like a physical would clear themselves. Like a doctor, any doctor would be able to look at these kids, and that's why I don't even know how I'm even in here.
So have you never spanked your child or yelled at them?
I have never spanked my children. I have, and I have got loud before, but I have never spanked my children.
You didn't spank them, right? But you shot them with a pellet gun.
Like, I live a very spiritual life, not in the sense that I believe in, like, offerings and, like, doing torturous things to kids and these, like, satanic things that they're trying to say that I do. That's not what I do. I say, like, the closest thing to me is, like, Indiana Jones, like a deep-sea diver or a high climber with alternate spirituality.
Indiana Jones.
What do you think your children would say about you? Would they call you a loving, caring dad?
Yes, they would. If they weren't in such a manipulative environment, of course. Of course.
What is your fear right now about the future?
He's
Do you think
delusional.
you may never see them again? That
But
your
people
future
will believe
be
that.
behind bars?
See, here's the problem. See, there's a whole bunch of people that will actually believe what this guy's saying because they believe in conspiracies and they believe in this big government cover-up thing that always goes on in all these different cases. So people will actually believe what this guy's saying. And you're just as delusional as this guy is.
What are you thinking will happen to you?
Well, I know that this will, the evidence will show itself. I know that these horrible accusations, that the evidence will show itself. And my biggest fear in all this is that they have messed my kids up. Is that they have diluted and demonized me in my children's minds. You know, who knows how long that lasts.
Who's they?
I would say the ones
Good question.
that are asking them the questions. It would be the detectives and the ones, because I feel there's extreme prejudice placed on me by the Fairfield Police Department. Extreme, not racism. The Fairfield Police Department is full of all kind of races, but definitely extreme prejudice.
Why do you think your children would say this? Because if anyone says something like that, they would have to know, at least the older ones, that they would be separated from you.
Well, I don't know. I don't think they really understood that. I don't think they really understood that. And it's not like CPS took my kids and these are the allegations and that's what happened. No, my kids went through going in foster care, getting taken out of our house, being placed with different people throughout the county, then being placed with grandma, and then the other half being placed with someone else. Like, they haven't had a moment to calm down. They haven't had a moment.
Tell me about the conditions that your home was found in. There was feces in different parts of the house. How could a
and
child
so-
live like that?
No, and so what they're talking about is I had 2 bathrooms, and I had this German Shepherd, and in both bathrooms, I had put the German Shepherd puppy, and it blew up both bathrooms. Like, both bathrooms it destroyed. And when they first came and got the kids from my wife, there was diapers on the floor evidently from them being changed. And then that's when they're talking about the fecal. It was like what the dog did in the bathroom, and when they came into the house, what they saw on the floor.
And that wouldn't have been cleaned up?
You said it wouldn't have been?
It wasn't cleaned up?
It was cleaned up, and so when they came back again, it was, I mean, we don't have our kids back, so we don't have, you know, we're trying to fight these kids. I was trying to fight my wife's case. I was trying to get my kids back.
Hey, just kind of really sidestepped that whole issue right there. Amazing.
So we cleaned out the entire, like, if you see what it was like before, we cleaned a lot of it in there, and when they came back again, it wasn't 100% because we weren't there yet. The house wasn't 100% clean yet.
So are you saying your kids had a normal life? They had a normal
I'm saying
childhood?
that they had a normal life except for being in homeschool. They had a normal life. Like, I gave my everything to these children. My everything. Like, the police demonized me all the way down to the names I picked for my children.
Some people may be asking, 10 kids. That's a lot of kids. Tell me a little bit more about your thought of wanting to have more children and to bring them into this world.
Well, I do love my children. And some people do ask, how can you do it? Like, all these kids. But the truth is that it's a functioning household. Like, everyone helped everyone. It was a complete circle.
Listen, I think the government needs to start asking a little bit more questions, you know, figuring out, are they really being schooled? What's the situation? And interview the kids from time to time. See how they're doing. Man, this is just such a disturbing case yet again. So I think I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to keep looking into this one and updating it as information comes forward. But it sounds like another set of Barbarian parents are arrested. At least in this case, the kids are still alive. In the Hart case, they took the time before being arrested to kill the entire family. In this case, they were arrested sooner than perhaps something like that could happen, but I don't think that these two people would have killed themselves anyways. You can tell that they already have these huge, elaborate excuses built into the conversations. Oh yeah, so it was a German Shepherd. He was in both bathrooms and pooped all over everything, and we just never really had the time to clean it up. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, everybody, I am thoroughly disgusted right now, so I'm going to have to call it a day on this video, and until next time, everybody, be safe out there.